Hello guys, my name is Piers and today we're going to see how to use multiple DbContexts targeting the same database and the exact same tables. There are numerous use cases why you want to do that, and if you do, let's see how. Let's go to our project, and in my models folder, which represents the domain entities of the project, I have a customer model with an ID and a full name. Now in my use case I want to separate the read and the writes. So I will have two DbContext, one for the reads and one for the writes. Now for the reads, I'm gonna use a different model, not the domain one. I have created in the folder read models a customer read model that also has an ID and a full name. Now, since it's a read model and we're going to use it only for read purposes, we don't need to have any private fields or value objects or anything like that. Just have all the data you want as properties. Okay, now let's go to our persistent folder. I have an iWrite DbContext which exposes a DB set of customers and the save async method, and then I read DbContext which exposes a DB set of customers, and obviously we don't want to expose anything that has to do with saving or something other that changes the data on the database, because again it's only for reading purposes. Now I have also a read DbContext which I configure in the unconfigured method. I just hard-coded the connection string, and I did the same with the write DbContext. Now we need them both to point to the same records on the database. So that's actually very simple. As you can see, I apply some customer configuration on the write DbContext and some customer read model configuration on the read DbContext. And if we go and see the configurations, for the customer, I say that it has a key, and that's the ID, a property full name with a maximum length of 100 characters, and specifically say to use a table named customers. And I have the exact same configuration for the read model, and that's what you need to do. You need to have the exact same configuration for both. If you have any many-to-many or one-to-many relationships, make sure that they are configured the same way, both for your domain models and for your read models. And now let's see how to add a migration. Let's open the terminal and let's go to our project, and now run the usual command that we use for creating a migration. Let's say .NET EF migrations, add, let's call that initial, and let's hit enter. Oh, I typed .NET ED, I'm sorry, that was a typo. So EF migrations add initial, and that will also not work, and we're going to see why. So let's wait to fail. Okay, it says that more than one DbContext was found. Specify which one to use. So we will run the same command, but we will say what context we need to use. And now we will only create one migration, and it will work for both of our DbContexts since they have the same configuration. So in the command line here, I just need to pick one. Let's say, I don't know, the write DbContext. Okay, let's create that migration. Okay, let's go and see that in the migrations. I should have put that in the persistent folder, but it's all right. Okay, it creates our table, and now for the update we just need to say again .NET EF database update, and let's use the write DbContext again. So write DbContext, Okay, build succeeded and done. So I have a dependency injection class. We're not going to use that. We're going to test the DbContexts in a console application where we initialize them just there. But if you have any questions about how to inject them, it's actually the same thing that you do if you had one DbContext. Here where I have my configure SQL Server method, I add the read DbContext and the write DbContext, and in the options I use the same connection string, and then I add my I DbContext and my read DbContext as scoped with their write DbContext and read DbContext implementations. So that's all you need to do, nothing difficult here. So let's go to our program where I have initialized the write DbContext and the read DbContext, and let's see if what we did works. So I'll use my write DbContext to create a customer. So var customer equals with new customer, and I'll pass my name, so Spiros Katsios, and then I will add it using my write DbContext. So write DbContext dot customers dot add async, and let's pass the customer. And now let's save the changes. So await write DbContext dot save async, and now we will use the ID of that customer to get back a customer read model. So var customer read model equals with read DbContext dot customers dot first async, and the ID will be that customer ID. So x.id equals with customer dot ID, and let's print the full name. So console dot write line customer read model dot full name. Oh, let's await that, I'm sorry. Customer read model dot full name, and let's run our application. And as you can see, it prints Spiros Katsios. So everything worked as expected, and that's how you can use multiple DbContexts to target the same database and the exact same tables. Pretty easy. So if you have a similar use case, I'm happy I helped. Thank you for watching and have a nice one.